You can hear me?
Okay. So today is Bahulastami on our calendar, but it was celebrated last night here in Radha-kunda. But today we're going to glorify Sri Radha-kunda. Radha-kunda tata kunja kutira Govardhan Parvata Yamunatira Radha-kunda tata kunjakutira Govardhana Parvata Yamunatira Radha-kunda tata kunjakutira Govardhana Parvata Yamunatira Radha-kunda tata kunjakutira Govardhana Parvata Yamunatira Kusuma Sarovara Manasaganga Kusuma Sarovara Manasaganga Kalindanandini Vipulataranga Kalindanandini Vipulataranga Vamshi Vata Gokula Dira Samira Vamsi Vata Gokula Dira Samira Vrindavana Taru Latika Vanira Vrindavana Taru Latika Vanira Kagamriga Kula Malaya Batasa Kagamriga Kula Malaya Batasa Mayura Pramara Murali Vilasa Mayura Pramara Murali Vilasa Venu Shringapada China Megamala Venu Shringapada China Megamala Vashanta Shashanka Shankakaratala Vasanta Shashanka Shankakaratala Yugala Vilase Anokola Jani Yugala Vilase Anokola Jani Lila Vilase Udipakamani Lila Vilase Udipakamani Esa bachodata kaina hijao Esa bachodata kaina hijao Esa bachodata nahina kao Esa bachodata kaina hijao Esa bachodata paranaharao Esa bachodata paranaharao Bhakti vinoda kahe sune kana. 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 Tu audi paka hamara parana. Tu audi paka hamara parana. Radha-kunda tata kunja kuchira Govardhana Parvata Yamuna Tira Radha-kunda tata kunja kuchira Govardhana Parvata Yamunati Jaya Radha-kunda Jaya Syama-kunda Radha-kunda Jaya Syama-kunda Radha-kunda Jaya Syama-kunda Radha-kunda Jaya Syama-kunda Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Yamuna Devi Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Yamuna Devi Giri Govardhan Jaya Yamuna Devi Giri Govardhan Jaya Yamuna Devi Oh, Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Go Premanandi, Radha-kunda Syama-kunda ki jai, Giri Govardhan ki jai, Jamuna Tira ki jai. Go Premanandi. Nalini.
Beautiful, Maharaj. You've got a nice voice too. Nalini Didi? Let me just ask you to unmute.
Hey, Hargo. Okay, Chintamani more, yeah? Okay. Page 116. Chintamani moy Radha-kunda tata tahe kunja shata shata Chintamani moy Radha-kunda tata tahe kunja shata shata प्रबाल विद्रोहितरुलता मुक्त फले आवनाता मुक्त फले आवनाता चिंतामणि मोय राधा-kunda tata ताहे कुंजा शत शत सनंद सुखद कुंज मनोहर ताहे ते कुटीर शोभे सनंद सुखद कुंज मनोहर ताहे ते कुटीर शोभे বসিয়া তাই গাব কৃষ্ণ নাম কবে কৃষ্ণ দাস লোভে কবে কৃষ্ণ দাস লোভে চিন্তামণি মোয় রাধা-kunda tata তাহে কুঞ্জ শত শত এমন সময় মুরালির গান বসিবে দাসী গানে আনন্দে মাতিব সকল ভুলিব শ্রীকৃষ্ণ বংশীর গানে শ্রীকৃষ্ণ বংশীর গানে চিন্তামণি ময় রাধা-kunda তত তাহে কুঞ্জ শত শত রাধে রাধে বলি মুরলি ডাকিবে মারিয়া ঈশ্বরী নাম রাধে রাধে বলি মুরলি ডাকিবে মারিয়া ঈশ্বরী নাম শুনিয়া জমাকে উঠিবে দাসী শুনিয়া জমাকে উঠিবে দাসী কেমনে করিবে প্রাণ কেমনে করিবে প্রাণ চিন্তামণি ময় রাধা-kunda তত তাহে কুঞ্জ শত শত চিন্তামণি ময় রাধা-kunda তত তাহে কুঞ্জ শত শত প্রবাল বিদ্রোময়ে তরুলতা প্রবাল বিদ্রোময়ে তরুলতা মুক্ত ফলে অবনত মুক্ত ফলে অবনত জয় রাধে জয় রাধে জয় রাধে জয় শ্রী রাধে জয় বৃষভানু নন্দিনী রাধে রাধে বৃষভানু নন্দিনী রাধে রাধে জয় বৃন্দাবন বিলাসিনী রাধে রাধে বৃন্দাবন বিলাসিনী রাধে রাধে জয় অষ্ট সখী শিরোমণি রাধে রাধে অষ্ট সখী শিরোমণি রাধে রাধে জয় রাধা-kunda জয় শ্যামা-kunda রাধা-kunda জয় শ্যামা-kunda ঠাকুর ভক্তি বিনোদ ঠাকুর ভক্তি বিনোদ ভক্তি বিনোদ ঠাকুর ভক্তি বিনোদ নিতাই গৌর হরি বল হরি বল হরি বল নিতাই গৌর হরি বল নিতাই গৌর হরি বল হরি বল নিতাই গৌর হরি বল গৌর প্রেমানন্দে হরি হরি বল। Thank you.
Oh, Jai Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Radharaman Radha Madhav Radha Damodar Radha Vinod Bihari. Oh Jai Shri Nitya Leela Pavishta Om Vishnu Parasto Tarsat Sri Simad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Nitya Leela Pavishta Om Vishnu Parasto Tarsat Sri Simad Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Nitya Leela Pavishta Om Vishnu Pad Asto Tarsat Sri Simad Om Bhakti Pragyan Kesha Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Nitya Leela Pavishta Om Vishnu Pad Asto Tatsat Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Mahabhagavad Srila Gaurkishoras Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Saptam Goswami Srila Sachitananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Vaishnava Sarvamoma Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Gaudavedanta Charja Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan Prabhu Ki Jai Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai Shri Narottam Srinivas Shamananda Prabhu Traya Ki Jai Shri Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Rup Shri Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Sarup Damodar Roy Ramananda Adi Gaura Parshavini Ki Jai Namacharya Shahadas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Zagaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vas Adi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Syama-kunda Radha-kunda Jamuna Ganga Tulasi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Nandini Shri Mati Radharani Ki Jai Lalita Vishaka Adi Astasaki Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, Sudarshan, Chakraju ki jai, Bhakta Vignavinod, Sri Nrsimha Bhagavan ki jai, Bhaktaraj, Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Shri Harinam Prabhu ki jai, Shri Bhuvana Mangala Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Brihat Pradanga ki jai, Ananta Goti Vaishnavini ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Haribol. Thank you, Maharaj. And thank you to Chudani Maharaj and Nalini Didi for again singing this time so beautifully. I'm very, very grateful for that. Agyanatimidandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunnitam Yana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shishimashila Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Namine. Namo Vishnupadaya Radha-govinda Priyatmane Shishimashila Bhakti Jivanacharya Namine. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shishimashila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine. Vanchakalpatarubhisha Kripa Sindhube Vicha Patadanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. First of all, I'd like to offer my humble obeisances at the lotus feet of my divine masters, Nitilla Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Stotra Sat, Shishi Marshila Bhakti, Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, and Nitilla Pravish Om Vishnupad, Stotra Sat, Shishi Marshila Bhakti, Jivanacharya Goswami Maharaj, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Nitilla Pravisht Om Vishnupad, Stotra Sat, Shishima, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, the entire Rupanuga Guru Varga, the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, the devotees that are listening, the people that are listening in now, in the past, and in the future. My Dandavat pranams to everyone. Today we are very fortunate because today is Bahulastami, the wonderful and divine appearance day of Sri Radha-kunda and Syama-kunda. And it's such an auspicious and special day. Srila Gurudev would take us to those places and bathe us in those pastime places, and to get the complete mercy of Srimati Radharani and Sri Shyam Sundar. So we're very, very fortunate today that both Sripad Bhaktivedanta Vaikanis Maharaji and Sripad Bhaktivedanta Tridandi Maharaj will speak about these places, but also take us on Radha-kunda Parikram. So without further ado, and without any hesitation, we invite you to come and speak, Maharaj. Dandavat pranams and Hari Hari Bol. I think Vaikanis Maharaj is going first, right?
Yeah, I guess I'm starting. Okay.
We've changed
right.
it up today.
Yes,
Vaikanis Maharaj
yes.
starting.
But we got the energy of Tridandi Maharaj by his beautiful singing, which was quite nice, quite nice. So, Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshula Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gauda Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Yam Pravajantam Manupeta Apeta Kritam Dvaipayano Vedahakatara Ajuhava Putreti Tan Maitaya Taravo Binedus Tam Sarvabhutam Hridayam Munimanatosmi Bhaktya Vihina Parada Lakshai Kiptastakamadi Tarangamadye Kripa Mai Tvam Sharanam Prapanna Brinde Namaste Charanara Vindam Tavevasmi Najivami Tvayavina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tvam Nayanam Charanandike Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So we begin by offering our most respectful, grateful, humble obeisance under the lotus feet of our beloved gurus, unto our beloved Diksha Guru, Shri Bhakti, Shri Nitya Leela, Pavishta, Om Vishnupad, Asto Tarsat Sri Simad, Abhaya Charnaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Raj, Srila Prabhupada, and unto our Shiksha Sanyas Guru, Shri Nitya Leela Pavishta, Om Vishnupad, Asto Tarsat Sri Simad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and to our exalted Rupanuga Guru Varga and all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. So today, under the guidance, auspices of our Guru Varga, we are going to speak and try to remember Sri Radha-kunda. I'll tell some stories about the history of it. And some of the layout, we have some pictures in the Parikram book, which we can post, which will give us some visual conception of the actual Radha-kunda as it is. We only see it in a very incomplete way. But by seeing these pictures and hearing the descriptions given by our acharyas, we get a much more wonderful conception of what this Radha-kunda is. We talk about Radha-kunda being appearing, but Radha-kunda is eternal, right? Just as Vrindavan is eternal, but and just as Govardhan is eternal, but Govardhan appeared to come to Braj at a certain time in history, right? We'll hear that pastime later. And Radha-kunda appeared to manifest at a certain time. When the Leela called for it, right? But she's always there, Radha-kunda and Syama-kunda. But the story of the appearance is quite delightful, so full of very heroic and sweet, sweet pastimes. But before that, and then after I speak some, Sri Dhanaraj is going to take us all around Radha-kunda, because it's actually, we're seeing the kunda itself, but in real times, there's no walls, there's no impediments, and the whole area is field and forest filled with beautiful kunjas, kalpavriksha trees, swings. It's an entire arena of pastimes. And he's going to show us the different bhajan kutirs and places of worship that were established during the time of the Goswamis, when Vrindavan was much more foresty and tranquil, right? So that's also going to be quite wonderful. We can immerse ourselves. But before I begin, I just want to reflect back to these beautiful songs that we were heard from Chaitanya Maharaj and Nalini Didi. They are meant to share the vision and the mood, in this case of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur indeed did visit Radha-kunda. He was posted nearby for some time. One of the things about his Leela as a magistrate, it allowed him to go to many different places around India, including near Vrindavan and Puri, right? And there he took association of the great Vaishnavas. In Vrindavan, it was Jagannath Das Babaji. And he did Radha-kunda Parikram. I mentioned that earlier, some days back, how we visited one time the house of a widow of a great pandit who was in a line of pandits, right, in Radha-kunda, and she had hundreds of journals, which were when pilgrims go and are guided by the pandits, they sign a little page in memoriam of their visit. And one of those books had the signature of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in it, and his appreciations. Others, there was one of Sajjan Sevak Brahmachari, who was our Vaman Maharaj. So, and our Srila Prabhupada would visit there. In his last days, he requested to be taken to Radha-kunda, where he could leave his body, but disciples were so distraught and worried for him, they weren't able to do that. It's understandable. But he went by mind and heart to Radha-kunda, right? And he is eternally there, as he is eternally at Radha Damodar. But going back to these songs, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is singing about Swananda Sukhada Kunj. When did he write these songs? He was writing the bulk of these songs when he was doing his bhajan after retiring in Godrum. And his own place there was named Svananda Sukara Kunj because in Navadvip, the places of Vrindavan are also there. And Godrum is the place of Svananda Sukara Kunj, which is the place of Ananga Manjari, the younger sister of Srimati Radhika, whom Bhaktivinoda Thakur, we know from other songs when he mentions her, has a very intimate and close relationship with her. And so he's singing and remembering, put into that meditation, right? Other times he's singing about Gaur Gadadhar, and all of a sudden Vrindavan manifests in its full glory right there, and Gaur Gadadhar transform into Radha Madhav, and all their assistant gopis are around them, and Vrindavan appears before his eyes. Right? So when we hear about Radha-kunda today, we'll also hear about Raghunath Das, Mahaprabhu, their time in Radha-kunda, and thus we get a sense of Mahaprabhu's connection, which we've been hearing with Vrindavan, and the non-difference between his pastimes and Krishna Lila in one sense. Anyway, it's very wonderful. But the one thing that struck me at the end of the song that Nalini was singing was how Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his internal condition as Kamal Majari, was hearing the sound of Krishna's flute. And what did he hear? He heard the name of Radha. And that struck me because generally we hear that when Krishna plays his flute, it calls the name of each of the devotees individually that he's calling, right? When he played his flute after the Govardhan, Anukut, and all of that, after everyone had separated once again, he was on the rooftop of the house he was staying in and playing on the flute given to him by Lord Shiva. He called out plaintively to all his beloveds because they were together in a special way, and he was thinking, oh, when will we be able to dance unobstructed together in this most beautiful way? And he called out with that flute. And it reverberated all over Vrindavan, all over the universe, but each of the gopis heard it in a special way that he's calling to me. And before the Rasa Leela, when he played his flute, each gopi felt that heard that her own name was in that sound, right? Her own name, and each, Krishna's calling me, Krishna's calling me, right? And when we get our mantras from our guru, the mantras also, even though it's the same mantra for everybody, inherent in that mantra is our own identity, our own relationship. So Kamala Manjari is hearing the flute, but whose name did she hear? She heard Radha's name, which struck me as very amazing because she didn't hear her own name. She heard Radha's name. She's so tadatmak with Radhika. Krishna's calling her, what do? I'm stunned. I have to go serve my Swamini. They don't feel they're tad bhav ichamai. Their relationship with Krishna is not direct as Krishna's lovers, but they're satisfying Krishna's desire for calm by serving Radhika and assisting her. So when Krishna plays the flute, they're hearing the name of Radha. Oh, he's calling my mistress. What do I do now? I have to go. And as Radhika is stunned by that sound, so Kamala Manjari is stunned. What do I do? What do I do? So it's a beautiful introduction because this Radha-kunda, it's the topmost place. The last three verses of Rupa Goswami's Upadeshamrita starts out with Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam, right? Controlling the senses. But in the end, it talks about the progression of spiritual destinations. And finally, after Vaikuntha and Dwarka, he arrives in Vrindavan, and even in Vrindavan, going to Govardhan, and in Govardhan, Radha-kunda. 3 times mentioning Radha-kunda as glorious and non-different from Radhika herself. And this was shared with us during the time of Srila Prabhupada. We didn't know any of these details, these pastimes in the Leela, but somehow when we went to Vrindavan, the sense of the importance of Radha-kunda, because Upadeshamrita had come out. So we knew, oh, somehow this is Radhika's own place. It's non-different from her. It's the topmost destination. And Srila Prabhupada's special gift to all of us was to infuse us with deep respect and enthusiasm for that place. And he told us when we would go there, previously you could only pour water over your head. He wouldn't let the devotees bathe. But the year I went, we were allowed to bathe in it. And I remember, I'm not going to tell the whole story because we told it before, what an experience that was. Why? Because being under guidance. I remember having experience not seeing Radha and Krishna, not being immersed in Gopi Bhav, but nevertheless having a shadow, a taste, a sense of the presence and magnificence of that beautiful Radha-kunda that Srila Prabhupada gave us a taste of in our heart. And Srila Gurudev, he also made great effort to take us personally to that place. Sridhar Maharaj can explain this in detail because he does it so well. But in his association and under the umbrella of his protection and guidance, we were also able to go to Radha-kunda and get such tremendous benefit. Right? So wonderful, wonderful sacred place and our ultimate destination of service, because it is the topmost place of pastimes, right? Unobstructed by any impediment at all. No jatila, no kutila, nobody can, even cowherd boys don't go there. We're going to see on the map that there are different kunjas surrounding Syama-kunda that are named after these cowherd boys, intimate pre-Narmasakas, but they donated them to Lalita, Vishaka, and the Ashtasakis, right? Because even they don't go to Radha-kunda. So it all begins in Vrindavan. They're sporting and playing, and they're going, and there's two stories that this happened at twilight, just before the evening when they're preparing for Rasa Leela, and another description is that it's sometime during the day. Not so much important, but Krishna and the gopis are enjoying very nicely in that area, and all of a sudden, this great bull demon, Ristasura, appears. Right? Ristasura is massive. And just like we heard, or we're going to hear, did we hear Keshi? Anyway, he's huge. So huge that when his tail rises up, it brushes the clouds. The hump on his back looked like a great mountain. Horns, there's different kinds of Indian cows, right? And some of them have these horns like the Texas cows that come way out and point right at you, and they're so fearsome, right? And so he was like this. He was absolutely fearsome. And normally the bull is the symbol of Dharma, right? He is the symbol of religious principles, and he protects and nourishes. He plows the fields for growing crops, for clearing the land. Even his stool and urine are nourishing to the planet. And if there are dangerous things, bulls, they'll protect the herd, they'll protect the land. You can't stand against a massive bull. But he was only in the appearance of a bull. Kutinati, just duplicitous. And he comes in this form, right? And what does he do? Is he plowing the fields? No, he's tearing them up. He's knocking down trees. He's snorting. He's pawing the earth. He's destructive everywhere. And he's so fearsome that other animals, other cows, seeing him, had miscarriages. Even women, it said, had miscarriages. Just by hearing his sound, the sound of a bull can be terrifying, right? Just terrifying, when shouted out like that. They're so strong. And he's causing chaos, and all the Brajbasis are running here and there. And what do? Oh, Krishna, Krishna, save us, right? Save us. And so Krishna becomes very angry with this bull. Who are you to come into my Braj and to create this disturbance and fear in the heart of my Brajbasis? How did he come into Braj? Well, Purnamasi Yogamaya lets these demons in for a special Leela, right? Special Leela. So Krishna can manifest to the greatest degree his Vira Ras before his gopis and before everyone there. And so he challenges the demon, but he does it in Krishna's own special, arrogant way. After chastising the demon, he stands there with his arm casually draped on the shoulder of a friend, very relaxed, hey, let's fight, completely composed and calm. Anyone else in the face of a demon like that, they might be ready to fight, but they'd be poised and ready to go, right? But Krishna's completely relaxed. You come here, and so the bull, seeing that, it's insulting, right? He becomes enraged, and with his horns pointed out, snorting, pawing the ground, he just charges at Krishna. Charges, right? And as soon as he charges, Krishna casually grabs these horns, takes them and heaves them backwards 18 paces, 18 huge bull paces. Yes, it's described by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur with Bhagavatam, just like when two elephants meet, the superior elephant might push back the other elephant. Or when you see bulls meet, sometimes the superior one pushes the other. Krishna did more than that. He uprooted him and threw him backwards. How humiliating. But this is a real demon, powerful personality. So he becomes enraged even more, gathers himself again, and charges. And Krishna once again grabs his horns. And then, and the most remarkable thing, he casually leg sweeps him and knocks out the legs of Aristasura and causes him to fall to the ground. And then it's described that he mistreated him like a wash rag. I thought, well, what does that mean? I thought of two things. You ever see Indian ladies washing? What do? They take the laundry, they go slap, slap, slap. So Krishna's taking him by the horn, thwack, 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 throwing him, tossing him down. The other thing they do is they take their foot sometimes and they'll press it and squeeze it, right? That's how you wash. So Krishna's very sweetly smacking him down and bashing him with his feet. Then he rips out one of these gigantic horns, right, and begins to beat him with it. Beat him until the Aristasura, he's so beaten and bloody. He's, blood coming out of every pore, passing stool, and he dies. Right? And he dies. And he goes, sometimes described that Yama took him, but oh, look at that picture. Yeah, but that's too small. He was much bigger than that. Where's there? Look at that tiny little. No way. And Krishna looks like some. No, that's not the picture Prabhupada would like. He liked Krishna soft and rounded. And anyway, so let's in our mind see that beautiful form of Krishna. And the bull is dead. And what's happening? Radhika and the gopis are watching. It's described elsewhere. Radhika is going, Hari, Hari. She's cheering, right? Hari, Hari. But then what happens? Then Krishna, very proud of himself, right, goes up to the gopis as a conquering hero, and he wants to embrace Radhika. And what does she do? Don't touch me. What? I've just killed this demon. No, you didn't. You killed a bull. The symbol of religiosity. It wasn't a bull. It was a demon in the guise of a bull. No, nevertheless, it was the form of a bull. You've committed a great, great sin. So this is the love play. Krishna did all this to please Radhika, and she was indeed greatly pleased, so happy, they all were. But now she's doing this. So what's this going to do? It's going to make Krishna even more happy. Look at in the face of this, she's playing this man, keeping us separated. So now he's got to be very clever. So in his submissive way, oh, Radhika, what shall I do to appease you? To become purified from my great sin. And she says, you have to bathe in every holy river and lake in the universe, which seems like an impossible task, right? How long will that take? But for Krishna, a gata and a shakti, even the impossible becomes very easily accomplished. And so he says, okay. And then he just arrogantly strides over to one area, slams his heel into the ground, and a big hole is formed. Big hole. Then he personally calls all the demigods and devas of all the holy tirthas all over the world and the universe. Even rivers from Patala were coming, right? And calls them, and they all come personally, and their waters fill this Syama-kunda. And then Krishna haughtily bathes in the water, comes out very smug, and then begins to say, now I'm completely purified, but look what I've done. You know, I have a beautiful kund now, filled with all the sacred waters of the universe and this earth. What do you have? You have nothing. And Radhika takes the challenge and says, oh, and she orders her sakis. And with their own hand, their own bangles, they themselves dig right next to Krishna's, but separated by a little land, another huge hole. And then Krishna says, oh, but you don't have any water. You have no water. And he says, let me give you some of the water from my kund. But Radhika's having nothing of that. Oh, we don't want anything of yours. And she says to her friends, go to Manasi Ganga, bring billions of pots of water, and we will fill our kunda with that. We don't want anything from this black fellow. And then the holy tirthas themselves, they became very distressed because they wanted to serve Radhika also. And so one representative, female, came and stood before Radhika in a very humble way and began to praise her. Very much like Akeshwari, Sodeshwari, Ramana Shashaneshwari, glorifying her in every way and saying that it would be so wonderful if you would accept our service, because you are the only one who truly serves Krishna. We want to serve you. And they praise her so sweetly. Radhika, her heart so soft. And so she agrees. And then a little channel, which exists to this day, between Syama-kunda is opened, and the waters of these places flow into there. And they bathe in both. And Radhika takes special pleasure bathing in Syama-kunda, because this is Krishna's place. She may not say it all the time, but it's described how she took special pleasure, and also says that anyone who bathes in Syama-kunda with great reverence and appreciation, that's very pleasing to her, because to honor her beloved, her prananath, anyone who does that makes her very inclined towards that person. And conversely, anyone who's bathing in Radha-kunda is so much pleasing to Krishna, and of course to all the associates and sakis of Radhika. And then, if you look there, maybe we can do that a little later, there's a description of what Syama-kunda became and Radha-kunda became. All around Radha-kunda are the kunjas of each of the sakis, and they're described east, north, south, and west, and there are swings on each side as well. Very jeweled swings, beautiful jeweled swings, and also beautiful trees. Because they're called pavriksha, they have all different forms. They appear to be made of coral with branches and fruits made of jewels. Others are just abundant with infinite variety of fruits. And then all around in the distance, hundreds and hundreds of kunjas of all their different associates and assistants. And around Syama-kunda are the kunjas of his intimate sakas, but those are donated also to the Astasakis. Right? And so this Radha-kunda is the most beautiful and divine playground. But how do we know about Radha-kunda? Well, because even after the disappearance of Sri Krishna, these places, the pastime places, disappeared within a generation or two. But Brajanab, the grandson, great-grandson of Krishna, wanted to resurrect. So he also resurrected Syama-kunda, Radha-kunda, and so many of the tirthas and pastime places all around Vrindavan, and renovated and installed deities at so many places like this, right? But in time, because this was, nearly 5,000 years ago, in time, these places also became covered over. So when Mahaprabhu came to Vrindavan, he was going to so many places, discovering so many places, and he was searching everywhere for Radha-kunda and Syama-kunda. And then he came to this place, and he asked the local people. He had an inclination, right? This must certainly be that place, but I don't see these beautiful ponds. And he asked the locals, do you know anything about Syama-kunda, Radha-kunda? And the history of Braj is contained in you could even call them folk stories of the local inhabitants, the traditions, right? Handed down over generations and generations. But even this was only a vague recollection. And they said, we don't know about that. But in this field here, in this large field, are two small ponds. One is called Kalikat, and one is called Gorikat. And because Kali means black, Gori means golden. And Mahaprabhu could immediately understand that over time language becomes distorted, but the concept of, Shama and Radha had been preserved in these two names, right? And so he thought, this must be the place. And he immediately took bath in these two very small depressions, these little tiny ponds, and was overwhelmed with transcendental ecstasies. Mahaprabhu, in his form as the greatest of all devotees, bathing in these waters, had all the experiences, tasting all the Leela and all the pastimes from the perspective of Radhika. And not even Radhika, not just Radhika, it's described in Chaitanya Charitamrita that in the Rath Yatra Leela, Srila Prabhupada says that Mahaprabhu, he tastes, he also desires to taste the moods of the other Sakis, right? Time to time. Tasting Radhika's moods includes everything, but sometimes just like Krishna as Vishaya wants to taste the love specifically offered by this gopi or that gopi in this mood or that mood, Mahaprabhu also wants to taste their form of devotion. Manjaris also, right? One time in 2004, when we went to Jagannath Puri for Purushottam, we were reading Ramananda Rai Samvad, and in the very beginning, it's described how Mahaprabhu goes to this famous Nrsimha temple, and afterwards he's chanting this beautiful mantra towards Nrsimhadev, Jaya Jaya Sri Nrsimha, Jaya Jaya Nrsimha, Prahlad Desha Jaya, Mukha Padma Bringa, right? Beautiful prayer. And then Gurudev said, why is he chanting a prayer to Nrsimha and Prahlad if he's come to taste the moods of Radhika? And then he explained that Mahaprabhu's actually, he has all the incarnations with him, and thus he's accepting the service, one of the specialities of Mahaprabhu, he's accepting the service of all the devotees in all the different rasas, right? And so as Krishna, he's tasting the service of all the devotees. As Mahaprabhu, he's tasting the rasa of service of all the devotees. But primarily, obviously, he's come to experience and taste the moods of Radha and her intimate associates. And so in that Radha-kunda and Syama-kunda, those tiny ponds, he was in ecstasy, right? And he declared, this is Radha-kunda, this is Syama-kunda. Sometime later, when the Goswamis came, they also were aware of this, and Raghunath Das made this the place of his bhajan. And in one place, one last thing, and where Mahaprabhu was at that time, when you circumambulate Radha-kunda, there's this one little place you walk from the road down the steps into this little area, covered area with a shrine and a little seat. That's a Chaitanya Baitak, where he sat and did his bhajan and where he discovered Radha-kunda and Syama-kunda. That place is still there. So years later, when Raghunath Das was there, he was doing his own bhajan there. And what we know now as the book Vilap Kushmanjali was largely, this is his own internal visions of his seva to Radha and Krishna. And it was realized mostly at Radha-kunda, right? At this place, again, where we also go, there's a little samadhi for Raghunath Das. This is where he was. There's also a samadhi quite almost next to that of Janava, not a samadhi, a bhajan kutir of Janava Thakurani when she came. But Raghunath Das was there, and at the time it was still quite small. And he was thinking, oh, at one time this was so glorious, we should restore this. You know, we should restore this. It's an eternal, beautiful place. It should be revealed to everyone, right? And stimulate the glories of Radha-kunda and Radha and Krishna. But then he began to think in a very high way, right? A very exalted way. Wait, but this is an eternally manifest place. It may appear like a very small pond, but it's actually already there. Why should I try to intrude and do something like that artificially? You know, this is transformation of humility and prema, right? So he's thinking, and he put that thought aside. But then very soon after he had that thought, a very wealthy but very pious business person came to Radha-kunda where Raghunath Das was. And he had just been at Badarik Ashram, because that's one of the major destinations for pious pilgrims to go to the place of Vedavyas. Now, I'm not sure if it's the Badarik Ashram in the Himalayas or the Badarik Ashram Adi Bhadra in Vrindavan, but he had come, I think it was the Himalayas. Anyway, he had been given a vision there, a spurti, and direction that Bhagavan Sri Badrinarayan himself told him, you should go to this place in Vrindavan and you will find the great saint, my great devotee, Raghunath Das. And there you should tell him that you've been inspired to fund the reconstruction of Radha-kunda and Syama-kunda. And so he very humbly offered his obeisance to Raghunath Das and explained that this was the order to cover all the expenses required to restore them to their original form, right? Charming forms. So, although he had early rejected the idea, then he began to think, oh, Krishna must have inspired that idea, and now he is confirming it. And this is very interesting, because even in great realized souls, you know, they may have an idea of how to serve, but they're also sometimes wanting confirmation, wanting anugatya, wanting further guidance, right? We're always anugatya. Srila Prabhupada had so many ideas about how to push on the Krishna conscious movement, and some came to fruition, some did not, right? But, you know, we always thinking how to expand. So now he oversaw the construction, and Radha-kunda, very nicely, very beautiful, rectangular shape, very sweet, perfect symmetry, right? And then he was going to do Syama-kunda in the same way. But there were some trees there that would have made it crooked and a little irregular. So he had ordered them that they should be cut down. But then that night, he had a dream, right? He was performing bhajan, and sometimes in bhajan, they will go into an internal trance, sleep-like trance, and there 5 personalities came before him, 5 extraordinary men. And they said, oh, we are the 5 Pandavas, and we're in the form of trees, and we're worshiping Radha and Krishna, the divine youthful couple here. right? They're praying for the mercy of Radha and Krishna and their associates in Vrindavan. So please do not cut us down. Let us stay here, you know. Let the pond be a little crooked, right? After all, Krishna is crooked, right? So his pond can be a little crooked. So then Raghunath Das, all right, and he had the pond deepened, and both were restored, and the same shapes are there today. Time to time, repairs are carried out. Almost every year, the Radha-kunda and I think Syama-kunda are drained and cleaned because people throw so many things into it, right? Oh, there was one story, though, I forgot to tell. Before he had done that, when it was still two little ponds, what reminded me is that when you excavate them, you'll see that they're fed from underneath, like spring-fed, right? A natural flow is coming from underneath. They're not fed by a tributary or a river. They're fed from underneath. So before he had restored them, he was doing his meditation. And Akbar, the king in Delhi, Muslim king, who actually had many interactions with the Goswamis, many stories of Akbar with Sanatana Goswami, with Jiva Goswami. Sometimes it's said that he was an incarnation of Indradumna Maharaj, the one who in ancient times had the first Jagannath temple constructed, even though he was in the guise of a Muslim. But he was a very pious ruler, very respectful. And he is there with his army. Who knows how many, 100,000 men or more, hundreds and hundreds of elephants, horses. And it was the summer, and the summer can be very hot, and they had no water. And the townspeople said, oh, go to this place where the saint is. And he went to Raghunath Das and he said, oh, is there any place nearby where my horses and everybody can drink? You know, he might have sent them to Manasi Ganga. That's a very big place, right? But he said, oh no, you can drink here. And Akbar said, what? There's two tiny little ponds? It's not enough for one elephant. He says, no, no harm. Just bring them all here. And they drank and drank and drank. One elephant can drink 100 gallons quickly. And there are hundreds and hundreds of elephants. And the elephants, the horses, and 100,000s of men all drank to their full satisfaction, and the ponds were not diminished in the least. Completely transcendental, right? Flowing eternally, never diminished. Yeah, never diminished. Just like the bhakti, just like prem, right? It never stops. It only grows and expands. So these are some of the stories. We could do some description of Radha-kunda itself. I gave a little bit. I think best that we take parikram, because our Chaitanya Maharaj has done this so often, and he knows all these secret little places all around. I've not been to all of them. I've been to some of them, and it's astonishing what's there, right there, and you don't know. So he's been guided. He's seen these places. So he's going to take us. And this is great. This is being handed down now, you know. He's been taught by people who have been taught by people who have been taught by our acharyas. So it's quite wonderful. So I will offer my Dandavat pranams to Radha-kunda, Syama-kunda, Srimati Radhika, Radha-krishna, and to all of our acharyas, and request Chaitanya Maharaj to say a few words about the entire area of Radha-kunda and Syama-kunda. It's not just the ponds. All right, thank you. All glories Srila Prabhupada, all glories Srila Gurudev, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Oh, Dandavat Pranams, Maharaj. That was absolutely blissful. That was tremendous. Totally relished every single moment of that. So sweet. Actually, Akbar, Emperor Akbar, he offered Raghunath Das a benediction. And Raghunath said, You don't kill anyone in the land of Vrindavan. You don't kill any animals. You don't have any death in the land of Vrindavan. You don't cause any death. So he begged this benediction from Akbar, and Akbar acquiesced. So just a extra part. Thank you, Maharaj. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tiralaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tara Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. I offer my millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And again, millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of our most beloved Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shila Prabhupada. And all the assembled Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, our Guru Varga, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhavebhacha, Patitanam Pavanibhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha. So as Vaikanis Maharaj has beautifully described the exquisite glories of Radha-kunda, and in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the 4th chapter, Adi Lila, there are such beautiful descriptions of Krishna desiring to taste the ashraya, the taster of love, of himself. These beautiful descriptions, this is Krishna's desire, his heartfelt desire. And this is Sri Radhika. So just initially we can appreciate the immensity of prem between Radha and Krishna, because this is the atmosphere of Radha-kunda, ultimately, and Syama-kunda together, is the love between them. So Krishna, we understand, like Kanas Maharaj was explaining, is the Vishaya, he is the object. And it's saying in verse 133 of Adi Lila 4, I want to read it here directly, Krishna's Kaviraj's own words. He says, Radhika is the highest abode of that love, and I am its object. I taste the bliss to which the object of love is entitled, but the pleasure of Radha, the abode of love, is 10 million times greater. My mind races to taste the pleasure experienced by the abode, but I cannot taste it. Even by my best efforts, how may I taste it? If sometime I can be the abode of that love, only then may I taste its joy. Thinking in this way, Lord Krishna was curious to taste that love. His eager desire for that love increasingly blazed in his heart. So this is Mahaprabhu. This is Sachinandan Gaurahari. When we come in the conception of Mahaprabhu, everything becomes simple to appreciate and digest and focus. So just a few moments to appreciate Mahaprabhu representing or embodying Radha and Krishna. Radha, Krishna, Pranaya, Vikritya, Hladini, Shakti, Asmad, Ekatmana. They become one. So here in Radha-kunda and Syama-kunda, we're experiencing this mood of their immense prem that all are anxious to serve. And yesterday, here in Radha-kunda, they celebrated Bahulastami. Last night, they celebrated Bahulastami. And millions of people descended on the little village of Radha-kunda. And the police had organized very nicely a parikrama so that everyone, the crowd flow could be controlled and there wouldn't be too many deaths. I don't think there was any so far, I've heard.
No stampede.
There was no stampede at all. And everyone who came got to bathe in Radha-kunda. A few years before, I also was there in midnight, and you can't even get practically a toe's space on the steps around. It's so completely packed with people wanting to take advantage of this most auspicious time. and bathe in the Kund. So this happened last night, and we have some pictures that we can show you of the actual last night happening. So the pictures are just coming.
Can't even find your clothes now. It's heaps of
No.
clothes.
And what happens, just like in ancient times, the royalty, it's described, Yudhisthira Maharaj, Draupadi, all the kings, etc., they would go and take their celebrated bath in the Ganga at the end of a yagya. And they would traditionally leave all their clothes there so that the poorer people could take those clothes and have some remuneration. They could make something from them. They would use those clothes like that. So we would give them some charity like that. So in the same mood here last night, I went this morning early, and there were literally truckloads of clothes all around Radha-kunda, and kids were coming and packaging them up and wheelbarrowing them away. So many clothes which would last a poor family. They could make something from that, some sort of income over the next year or so. So this is a very sweet mood of showing their detachment. This is just general people. These are not wealthy people. They would come and bathe and just leave all their clothes behind in a mood of detachment from their previous activities and year and so on. And then they would put on fresh cloth and leave. So this mood is very much appreciated. But when we come in to Radha-kunda from our parikrama in Govardhan, we remember with Srila Gurudev, we would cross over the canal where Jamuna is there, and we would come into Radha-kunda. And the first place we come to is the Radha Damodar temple. This is the temple that has been bought by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Jiva Goswami, he even writes about this and explains that whose property it was, etc. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he buys this property for 1 rupee, it's described. So this property is now a very significant Gaudiya Math. This is Radha-kunda Bihari, very beautiful deities. I happen to see the pictures. Oh, they're coming now. Okay, this is Radha-kunda Bihari. And this is a very beautiful, small Gaudiya Math. We came here many years ago with my Gurudev, perhaps in 97, 98, 99, something like that. And the temple wasn't completely constructed then. So we sat in a very large courtyard, and there must have been 50 or 60 devotees together. And he called us all close to him. We just entered Radha-kunda, where the mood of those who desire Siddha Pranali is often talked about. So Srila Gurudev, he called us all close to him and said, now I want to give you all the Siddha Pranali, your Siddha Pranali. So we all became very, very excited. Well, what's he going to give us? So we all came and sat at his lotus feet. And he leant forward very beautifully and said, Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarodapi Suhishena, Amanina Manadena, Kirtanya Sadhari. This is the emblem of the sadhak who is desirous to connect with Sri Radhika in service. This beautiful verse that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he enunciated himself as the qualification for bhajan in this place. So we hear our Siddha Pranali right at the beginning, Trinada Peace. This mood has to be there to actually begin our parikrama. So in this temple where we are now, the Gaudiya Math, Radha Damodar Gaudiya Math, there's very beautiful murti of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So we take darshan of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati immediately, and Srila Gokishore Das Babaji, in a beautiful effulgent photo, is just behind him. So we beg the mercy of, in Radha-kunda, where we've come, our only qualification is going to be from connection with our Guru Varga, connection with what they can bestow upon us to give us the strength to move forward to our eternal relationship with Radha and Krishna. It's only their mercy that is going to fuel our bhajan. Without their mercy, nothing, absolutely nothing will transpire. It begins with Sri Guru, but Guru is the embodiment of all the Guru Varga. So today we're going to go and visit so many of these personalities and beg for their mercy. I was sharing with one devotee that for so many years I've understood how much mercy is available in Radha-kunda. But only a few days ago did I realize that actually how enhanced that is, in fact, tangibly, during the month of Kartik. I've been doing this parikrama so many times in the last 7, 8, 9 months now. But during this Kartik month, it's like the doors have opened wide to all these personalities bestowing their mercy. If you go to the samadhis of all these different people during this month, then the immense kripa is going to manifest from them, more so than previously. It's tangible, palpable, what they can actually bestow now. So we take the mercy of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, we take the mercy of Srila Gaur-Kishore Das Babaji, and remember their divine relationship. How Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was the most erudite scholar, but Srila Gaur-Kishore Das Babaji was posing as being very illiterate practically, just a grain merchant in his family life. So this relationship is quite contrasting, but so special to appreciate how Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati would only accept this. And he's described that Gaur-Kishore Das Babaji, we know the story, he rejected him countless times. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was indicating that his illustrious son, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, should go to Gaur-Kishore Das Babaji, but he was rejecting, and finally he said, I will take my life unless you accept me. Gaur-Kishore Das Babaji said, I will ask Mahaprabhu. But then again, when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati appealed to him, he said, oh, I forgot. So eventually this link became manifest when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati took diksha from this personality. So we beg their mercy. And then we come straight now, we're coming straight towards the Kund. If you can appreciate the pathway, it's just a small pathway. And then we get on to the inside parikrama trail. Now we're on the internal parikrama trail. And we walk around a little bit. And on our right, there's a small doorway. We come in the small doorway, and this is Gopinath. This is Gopinath with Ananga Manjari on his left. We heard from Pujapad Sudadwaiti Maharaj the other day, the glories of Ananga Manjari. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur constantly sings the glories of Ananga Manjari. And on the right is Sri Radhika. She's bequeathed her position in this particular instance, in this Leela, to her Priyanath, Gopinath. So we have here, the first temple is Gopinath with Ananga Manjari and Sri Radhika on the right. And the left is for Krishna's Shakti, or Saki. This is Ananga Manjari. And we appreciate here, we beg the mercy with the prayer, Shriman Rasa Rasambrambi, Vamsi Bhaktatasida, Karsana Vanesmra Gopi, Gopinath Sriyastuna. This prayer we say daily to Gopinath Prabhu. It's nice to say the prayers. I've made one little parikrama book we can share online, and it's got all the different prayers. Thakurji speaks the language of Shastra. He speaks the language of Sanskrit. So when we enunciate their prayers, there's definitely going to be an instant connection. Shriman Rasa Rasambrambi Vamsi Bhaktatastitaha Arsanam Vaneswani Gopi Gopinath Sriyastuna. This prayer we say regularly. So we offer this prayer. Then we carry on straight with Takoji on our right, and we go straight through another small door, and now we come directly onto the Kund itself. And there's a small baitak, a small sitting place of Janava Mata, who is non-different from Ananga Manjari, the Shakti of Ananga Manjari we were hearing yesterday. So Ananga Manjari is in her form of Janava Mata. She's sitting right here. So we remember Nityananda Prabhu, we beg for his mercy, and we remember again Ananga Manjari. Ananga Manjari's Kund is right in front of Janava Mata's sitting place. Janava Mata's sitting place is very beautifully decorated by our godbrother, Paramananda Puri, follower of my beloved Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, devotee from the Philippines. And he put his life and soul into renovating many of these places in Radha-kunda. And he renovated a number of places, but he renovated first this Janava Devi's sitting place. So here we take darshan of Janava Devi, and we remember Nityananda Prabhu. The bathing place there has been blocked off at the moment, but just out the front, directly in the middle of Radha-kunda from here, is actually the Swananda Sukata Kunj of Ananga Manjari herself. We see the Kund is a protrusion on the left of the screen. And then in the center, which is unmanifest today, is the very divine Kund of Janava Devi, Swananda Sukata Kunj, that Kunj that is filled with bliss and happiness. So that's where her Kunj is. So this is all linked together with Gopinath. Understand the line. We have Gopinath, Ananga Manjari, Sri Radhika, then we have Janava Mata, then we have her Kund sitting right in front of us in the center of Radha-kunda. So connect the personalities in our minds while we're here and appreciating the speciality of this very most powerful place. And then from Janava Kund, then we can just drop straight down, we can see on the picture, into the bank of Radha-kunda on the side. And this is, we can take darshan here, our first archaman of Radha-kunda directly. This is our first, more or less, darshan of the parikrama. So we can chant prayers. Ashri sarovara sadatvai samadisha prastena saradamiha kalati kamrange tvam chet priyat priyatamai vatayoritimam hardasayata kripraya kripaya mitakam. So this is saying, O Radha-kunda, my mistress, is engaging in very secret and beautiful playful pastimes with her darling Krishna in the kunjas on your banks. You are so near and dear to them. Therefore, I am taking shelter of you and pray for your mercy, that you will show me my Swamini, who is my very life and soul. So we can offer this prayer, and many, many prayers we can offer there. Devi Krishna Mai Prokta Radhika Pradevita Sarva Lakshmi Mai Sarva Kanti Surmanina. So many prayers we can offer here directly to Sri Radhika as we take Archaman. And always we offer the waters first to Radhika in honor of Radhika, and then we take ourselves on our heads. So 3 times we're offering, and then we're taking on our own heads and in our faces and mouths, etc. And then we walk along the steps here, just a very little way. We can see directly next to the Baitak, Janava Devi's Baitak there. There's a very small door, and that goes back in to the temple that we were in previously, Gopinath's temple. It's a very long temple. So Gopinath is at one end, near the Baitak, and Raghunath Das's, yes, Raghunath Das's Pushpa Samadhi is here. This is Raghunath Das's Pushpa Samadhi now. And we're remembering Raghunath Das. We're remembering his prayers in Vilap Kusumanjali. It's that song, Ram Rupa Manjari Sada. I can't remember, so I didn't bring it with me. But beautiful prayer to, yes, to Rupa Goswami. Raghunath Das is praying to Srila Rupa Goswami. Oh, Rupa Goswami, your bimba lips are beautifully red, and they look like they've been kissed, but your husband is far away. Is it some parrot that's actually kissed your lips? So this is in the beginning of Vilap Kusumanjali. So we remember this verse, we remember verses from Mana Shiksha, and we pray for the mercy of Raghunath Das. Without praying heartily to these personalities, how will we proceed with our parikrama? The purpose of our parikrama is to connect, always to connect with these persons. They are there. We say many times the Vaishnava, Vaishnavas, he reasons ill who tells that Vaishnavas die when thou art living still in sound. The Vaishnavas died to live, and in living try to spread the holy name around. So Vaishnavas are fully present and alive. And in front of this Pushpa Samadhi, there's always a kirtan. 24 hours kirtan is always going on, resonating. It's very beautiful. Then we can circumambulate here. My Gurudev always used to encourage us 4 times. Any Shishya of Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj will always circumambulate 4 times. And if you ask them why, they will all say the same reason. Because my Gurudev said, this is why they will say. But actually, my Gurudev said just to, connect and make sure. So we circumambulate here. And today, we couldn't get in. It was so solid, jam-packed with people. It's only going to be jam-packed for a few days, and then it'll empty out again. So today, here now, we're taking darshan of Raghunath Das and his Pushpa Samadhi. Then we go straight to the very small door and back onto the Parikrama trail where we entered from. Now we're back on the external Parikrama path of Radha-kunda. And we're walking around again. And the first place we come to is Radha-Govinda. We come to Radha-Govinda temple. Yes, Radha-Govinda is always so beautifully decorated. They have such good pujaris there. He's always looking absolutely beautiful, pristine. So, of course, these deities are Pratibhu deities. Originally, when these deities were on their way out to Jaipur to take shelter from the Muslims, then they spent the night here in this temple. So also Rupa Goswami has very beautiful pictures just beside the deity. So we can take shelter of Rupa Goswami here. So we sing the prayer, Divya Vrindaranya Kalpadurmada Srimad Ratnagara Sanso Shishi Radha Shila Govinda Devo Prestalapti Savyamana Smarami. So we chant this prayer in honor of Govinda Dev here and reflect upon their mood of giving the Abhideya Tattva. When we were in Raghunath, this is the Prayojan Tattva. So Raghunath is the Prayojan Acharya. So here we have Radha Govinda, and the Acharya of Abhideya is Rupa Goswami himself. So beside the Thakurji here are very beautiful pictures of large pictures of Srila Rupa Goswami. And here there is also 24-hour kirtan perpetually going on. So the timings of the morning Mangalarti are deliberately staggered so that people can attend all 3 Mangalartis. As soon as Gopinath finishes, then immediately Govinda Dev starts, and a few minutes after that, then Madan Mohan will begin. So enthusiastic sadhak can go to all of the Mangalartis every morning. So now from this wonderful Radha Govinda temple with the whole meditation on Srila Rupa Goswami, Priya Sarupe, Daita Sarupe, Prema Sarupe, Sahaja Rupe, Nijana Rupe, Prabhueka Rupe, Kana Rupe, Swavilasa Rupe. We chant the mantras. It's the mantras that are very important to connect. Adadinas Tanandantia, Idmeche Punapana, Srimad Rupa Pajambojo, Dulisham Janma Jamanaha. Connecting with these personalities. So now we come out of this beautiful temple and we take a very sharp left and we go up a little incline and we come to the tongue of Giriraj. This is very beautiful. She always looks like Girirani. My Gurudev has described you can worship Giriraj as the personality of Govardhan himself, or you can worship Giriraj as the servant, Hantaryam Adira Balahariyasavarya, the servant of Krishna, or you can worship Giriraj as Girirani. my Gurudev described there's only one Purush in the Kunjas. There's no room for two males. So therefore, Giriraj must be in the form of Girirani. And usually this deity has long hair with plaits and beautiful lotus eyes, and she's looking very much like Girirani. And then it's described that if we circumambulate here 7 times, then that's the same as circumambulating the whole of Govardhan. Just like in Radha-kunda, we can circumambulate 4 times, and that's doing the Govardhan Parikrama. Here it's 7 times because it's very small, but it takes a long time when there's 1,000 people doing it at one time because it's very, very crowded and congested. So then right next to here, we've circumambulated, we walk, and right next to here, there's some beautiful Shilas beside a tree. We can offer our pranam there. And then we walk back down the same slope where we've just come in. And now we come through the entranceway of Govinda again, and we take another sharp left, and we walk up a gully, which is usually crowded with monkeys. That's why it's helpful to carry a stick sometimes through this area. And then we walk a little way along, and we take another very, very small gully, walk up, and we come to the Bhajan Kutia of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. This is the actual place where Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami wrote the Chaitanya Charitamrita. For us, today, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is our life and soul. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was only 500 years ago. He is our very existence. He is that personality who is giving everything, all the descriptions of Rag Marg, of what is Parakya. Everything is emanating from Chaitanya. Before Mahaprabhu, these truths were not publicized. They were not on the map, so to speak. And we take darshan of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami here. He also likes to hear any verses that we can speak from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And I'm learning this verse, this Katanchana Smritiya Yasmin, Duskaram Sukaram Bhavet, Vipariyatam, I'm not good with verses, but Vipariyatam Syat Bhavet Sri Chaitanya Namamyaham. And this is saying, Katanchana Smritiya Yasmin, if one remembers Mahaprabhu, everything that is even difficult becomes very easy. This is a very beautiful verse. We'll post it on our thread here so you can meditate on. But say something to Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj. He's there. We've just said these personalities are not just dormant. They're sitting in their kutiyas, whatever. They are fully alive. So we take darshan of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj. We remember his immense gift, his epic of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then we keep walking straight, maybe 10 steps or 5 steps, and we're straight away in the beautiful temple of Gaur Gadadhar. We come to this temple of Gaur Gadadhar, and there we see Gadadhar and Mahaprabhu, and Nityananda is on this altar also. So we see these 3 personalities. Sometimes the arrangement of the deity is not completely in line with our Gaudiya Siddhanta. Sometimes you see Nityananda and Mahaprabhu on the altar with Radha and Krishna. So being trained in the Gaudiya line, we don't appreciate that so much, but still in Radha-kunda here, what can we say? They're open to those things. So they have it there. So now we see Gadadhar. Swabhakti yoga lasanam sada praje viharanam Hari priya ganagaram sachi sutta priyeshwaram Sarada Krishna sevanam prakashakam prakashayam Bhajamyaham gadadharam supanditam guru prabham. So we offer pranams to Gadadhar Pandit. And in this particular temple, there are so many cows, many cows, many small cows, big cows, etc., feeding cows. And it's very nice to take something, feed the cows each day. It's a beautiful, and they also have 24-hour kirtan here. So get the flavor, the mood of full devotion. The mood of bhakti is flourishing powerfully because of Sri Radhika's presence in the kund. All of this is emanating. This is all her effulgence where we're walking today. So then we come through Gaur Gadadhar, and we come back to Krishnadas Kaviraj, and directly opposite his door into his Bhajan Kutir is a gate. We can go through that gate, and now we come to the Bhajan Kutir of Srila Raghunath Das. We've already visited his Pushpa Samadhi. Now we come to his Bhajan Kutir, and right next to his Bhajan Kutir is Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Vishwanath, what's it? Vishwanath, yes, yeah, Rupa So, Chakravarti, Chakre Vartma Pravartanat, Chakre Vitartatvat, Chakravatya Akya Bhavat. I'm sorry, I'm stumbling through these. I'm just in process of trying to learn these. I'm very slow with verses. Anyway, there are the verses for the different acharyas that we can chant at each place in acknowledgement of these personalities. So now we come out of here and we come, oh, this verse, yes. Vishwanath Rupa So Bhakti Vartma Pradarshanat Bhakti Chakre Vidartatvat Chakravatya Kyavat Bhavet. So this is the verse we can learn for Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And then we come out here and we've got immediate darshan of Syama-kunda. And the trees that are wonderful, Sripad Vaikanis Maharaj was speaking about, the last tree that is still remaining is still there. Some say this is Bhima, that is there. He's not, the higher part is gone. There's just the trunk of the tree. But there's still life there, and there's some bushes there. But we remember this pastime of the trees here on the bank of Syama-kunda. And we take darshan here. Then we walk a little to the left. We come through another very, very narrow gully. And we come to the Teen Goswami Samadhi, where all these three divine persons are meditating there simultaneously. They left in different years. And first of all, Raghunath Das left. And then on the same day, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj, Raghunath Bhatta left. And then a few years later, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj honored those personalities by leaving on the same day also. So these three personalities are there. Yes, this is on the screen now. So this is the Teen Goswami Samadhi. On our right, we have Raghunath Das. In the center is Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj. And on the left is Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. So we must remember these personalities. Raghunath Bhatta is not spoken about so much, but he's very responsible for constructing, for example, the Govinda Mandir in Vrindavan at the request of Srila Rupa Goswami. And he would sing like a parrot in 4 or 5 different meters, the Bhagavatam verses. The name Bhatta signifies he's qualified in one of the Vedas entirely, like Gopal Bhatta we're going to see in a minute. So Raghunath Bhatta, he's fully versed in the one of the Vedas, the Rig, Artha, Sarma, or Yagya Veda, fully versed. That's the title, Raghunath Bhatta. And of course, we have our beloved Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj in the center and Raghunath Das here. We can imagine them residing there in this place. They are all collectively sitting here, ready to bestow their kripa. That's why they're here. That's why they've manifested themselves. They have inspired personalities to manifest their samadhis here. And again, this was all constructed, the construction you can see today, again by Paramananda Puri, this Shishya devotee of my Gurudev. He made this beautiful construction here. It's not an easy task to manifest anything in Radha-kunda. You have to have the full blessings of all the Brijvasis. And many obstacles came in his road, but still he plundered through and manifested this wonderful samadhi, teen samadhi. So we circumambulate here very reverently, thinking of these personalities. Then we come out of the gate and we go to the left. Then there's a very beautiful Tulsi Stamba. We can circumambulate there. And then we come across to our right, and there's the small samadhi sitting place, Bhajan Kutir, of Gopal Bhatta. Gopal Bhatta, his samadhi is in Radha-Raman, where we described Sripad Nemi Maharaj described the other day. But now we're in Gopal Bhatta, and we're remembering him as the disciple of Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati, and his taking shelter of Raghunath Das in this place, and taking shelter of Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. He was very young. He was one of the youngest, along with Jiva Goswami, when he came to Radha-kunda, and he actually takes shelter of Sanatana Goswami. We have the Brihat Bhagavatamrita, which is actually compiled by Gopal Bhatta, and the Hari Bhakti Vilas also. Yes, this is Gopal Bhatta's samadhi here. So we can fully appreciate all his support to Sanat, just as Jiva Goswami was supporting Rupa Goswami in his publication. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami is supporting and carrying the words of his beloved Sanatana Goswami into this world in the form of publishing these books. Of course, they didn't have printing presses in those times, but he would arrange for the scribes to write these beautiful books and print many copies, or write many copies of them for posterity. So Gopal Bhatta here, a great divine personality, personally serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Sri Rangam under his father Venkata Bhatta and Prabodhananda Saraswati, his brother, his father's brother, so his uncle. So it's described that Prabodhananda Saraswati is his guru. So now we come out from Gopal Bhatta Goswami, carrying his mood, and the moods of Raghunath, the moods of Raghunath Bhatta, the moods of Krishna's Kaviraj, or we've seen the splendorous Gadadhar Pandit. Now again, we come down the same small lane leading back close to the Radha Govinda Dev temple. We come out, now we're back on the main Parikrama trail. And then we go straight along, and we take a left here before we come to the Jagannath temple, and we walk along the road a little bit, and we come to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's place of Swananda Sukata Kunj. As Sripad Bhakyanis Maharaj was explaining, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he acquired this land, and he built a place in Radha-kunda. But Maheshji, Shivji, instructed him that he had to go back to Navadvip to reveal the pastimes in Navadvip. So he built this house, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati stayed in this house. And if we enter in here, Swananda Sukata Kunj, it's called, the same as it's called in Navadvip. His place in Navadvip is also called after Ananga Manjaris. He's naming it after Ananga Manjari's place. So inside here is the unique feature of a Western styled toilet. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is so in tune, knowing that Westerners would come eventually. He'd understood that Westerners will follow the indication of a great Acharya, who is Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and will begin to come to Radha-kunda. So in order to show hospitality, he makes this Western toilet. I always find it very touching that she do something like that. It's a personal mood that Bhaktivinoda Thakur is sharing. So in this house here is the house of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So our parikrama won't be complete without getting his mercy too. So then we come back down the trail again. Huh? Oh, the cane of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is there also. This is where they lived. So then the Babajis, by the way, you should understand today, they're not open so much to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur or Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, because they're in a different line. They're actually in the Nityananda bumps, and they're not following the same strictness that we follow in the Gaudiya Math. So they're not so much reverential to these So therefore, it's very sweet that Bhaktivinoda Thakur is sitting back a little bit. So we take his darshan, and then we come back again onto the Parikrama trail. We walk a very short distance, and we take another place to the left, and we come to Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra. They are always open. They're always shining. They're always revealing their mercy. Very, very powerful, very beautiful deities of Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra. You see the Pujari on the left here with the microphone. He's there all the time. He's been there for 20, 30, perhaps 40 years he's been there. He holds Ratha Yatra festival every June and takes it around the Kund. Even it's the most hottest month of the year, and yet he perseveres with that Ratha Yatra festival. Tremendous. He has kirtan every night in front of Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra. So we can remember Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra, and we can also remember how our Gurudev told us the heart of Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra is actually within the Tota Gopinath Mandir. So we can remember Radha and Lalita and Tota Gopinath also in Puri Dham. We can remember them at this point. And then we go straight in front of them, and there's a beautiful Thakurji of Sad Bhuj, a beautiful, beautiful, in a very small little temple deity there. We can offer there immediately. Just one Pujari takes care of that place, and it's a beautiful, effulgent Thakurji that is always beaming his mercy out onto the Parikrama trail. So then from there we come around the corner, and now again we're back on the Parikrama path. So we move along the Parikrama path just a short distance, and we come to Sita, Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman. Very beautiful deity. They're practically on the street, on the Parikrama path directly. And again, they're beaming out their mercy. We see their effulgence. It overfloods the Parikrama path. It comes right out. And we can remember their beauty. And Sita Thakurani is always, it's an especially beautiful Sita Thakurani. She's non-different. Ultimately, Radhika is manifesting Sita Thakurani, the Shakti of Ram. So their potency and moods are splendidly looking directly at the Kund. They're directly looking at Syama-kunda and Radha. Actually, they're facing the Sangam, is where they're actually facing. So we have their darshan, and then we walk along a little bit further. And then on our right now, we come to the Radha Damodar temple, which was manifested by Jiva Goswami Pad. These deities are absolutely exquisite. They're so beautiful. If you open your screen, you can get a close picture of these particular deities. They're very, very, very sweet. So this is Radha Damodar in Radha-kunda. And right next to them is a beautiful painting of Srila Jiva Goswami. Actually, this painting was done by my Gurudev's disciple, a lady from South Africa. She gave this to my Gurudev perhaps in 94, 95, maybe 96. She brought this painting and a painting of Srila Krishna's Kaviraj. And both these paintings have been accepted here. And this painting is what we honor, the picture of Srila Jiva Goswami. He's residing next to Radha Damodar, because after Rupa Goswami left in Vrindavan, Jiva Goswami, we know the history, he became the Mahant, and he moves to Radha Damodar in Vrindavan. But this is the representation of Radha Damodar in Radha-kunda, and right next to him is Jiva Goswami, who is so potent and can give so much kripa. Somehow Jiva Goswami is so much in tune with everything. Very, very, very powerful personality to connect with at this particular point in our parikrama. So then we circumambulate there. There's always cows around, and they're often distributing prasadam there also. Then we come around here, and then we come out of the gate again, and we come directly into darshan of Lalita-kunda. This is what's on the screen now, is Lalita-kunda. So Lalita-kunda is in the north. Now we're facing north, and completely next to Lalita-kunda actually is Vishaka-kunda. And then it scrolls around, as Vaikyanatha Maharaj was saying, all the Astasakis are present, and they have their individual kunds here. So here we honor Sri Lalita Devi. Radha Mukunda Pada Sambrama Garamya Bindu Nirmanchano Pakarani Krita Devi Laksham Utunga Suridam Visheshavashat Pragalvam Devim Gunai Sulalitam Lalitam Namami. We honor that first verse of the Lalita Astakam, and we remember Lalita Saki, who the first personality to manifest from Sri Radhika. Sri Radhika, she actually manifests the 8 Astasakis, and then from the 8 Astasakis, all the other Astasakis are manifesting. So Lalita Saki is the most important personality. And then right next to her is Vishaka Saki. So we remember Lalita Saki and all Sri Radhika's Astasakis at this place and beg for her mercy entirely. It's described that to become acknowledged by Lalita Saki is our greatest desire, to have her mercy, to become connected with her. Then she will immediately bring us in line. So then after Lalita Kund, we also have Gopeshwar Mahadev has just been installed behind there. So we can also again offer to Gopeshwar Mahadev. He's everywhere. He's all pervasive. He's the protector of the Dham. So this is in the northern part of the Dham, of the Kund. So now we come around more, further around, and we keep going around the corner. And there's very many ancient temples of the Manipuri temples on our left. And then we come around a little further. And there's a small gully that goes straight down to Syama-kunda. And just before you reach Syama-kunda, there's the Baitak of Madhavendra Puripad. We can come in here to the Baitak of Madhavendra Puripad. So significant personality in our connection with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ai dina dayadrinatahe maturanath kalavayokate hridayam tvad aloka kataram daita kranite kim karamyaham. We remember Madhavendra Puripad, and we remember the verse that he is meditating on when he's saying this verse. Hey Nata Ramana Preshta, Kwasi Kwasi Mahapuja, Dasyaste Kripyame, Saki Darshayam Sanidim. So we remember these personalities, Madhavendra Puripad as being the Prem Ankur, connecting Ishvara Puri to Mahaprabhu, the first sprout of Bhav Bhakti, manifesting in Prem. So significant. We can't miss this particular small parikrama. We circumambulate his very sweet Baitak there. And then again, we come out from Madhavendra Puri and we're directly now on the parikrama trail, and we become opposite of Raghunath's well. Raghunath Das, the Koop. He specifically made this well here at Radha-kunda so that the locals would not use the kund for their bathing or washing their cloth purposes. He made it deliberately so that the kunds would remain uncontaminated. So again, this indicates the moods of the personalities who are constructing these kunds, etc. Full understanding of the situations that is going to manifest. So he made this kund, and you can take the water from that kund if someone's kind enough to lower a bucket. You can take the water from there, which is very potent. And then we come around again further, and we walk a little further, keep going around the corner, and now we come to the most sacred place, which is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Baitak. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Baitak is absolutely beautiful, and this has only just been completely renovated by, again, Paramananda Puri. He's done the Janavadevi sitting place, he's done the Teen Goswamis, and he's done this place. This was an amazing accomplishment. Previously, even 6 or 7 years ago, this was just a very small little building, not particularly special looking or anything like that. But Paramananda Puri, he took it right down to the ground. He razzed it to the ground completely. And then he started up from fresh with all this white marble that you see all the way around and all the white lattice work around. It's absolutely beautiful. No doubt the empowerment of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself desired to sit in an elaborate sitting place at this time for posterity. For the next 500-600 years, this beautiful Baitak will be gloriously celebrated for the work of our Paramananda Puri through the mercy of my Gurudev and through the divine potency of Sachinandan Gaur Hari himself. All around this Baitak are beautiful dioramas of the pastimes of Mahaprabhu. Haridas Thakur defeating the Mayavadis in Varanasi. So many pastimes are there. And there are so many quotes and verses there also. And Paramananda Puri has acknowledged the Western devotees by putting a lot of these quotes in English. It's very relieving for the Western devotees to actually read something in English. All around is written in English. It's very comforting. So we stay here and we offer prayers to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So many prayers we can chant to Mahaprabhu to have his mercy, to Anapita Chirim Chirat Kuranavartino Kalos Samarat Paitam Unatam Samswabhakti. When we circumambulate, we can chant all these different prayers to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then we come out of here, back on again to the Parikrama trail, and we're walking around again. And then just on our right, as we go around, there's a Radha Bala Baitak. And in there, there's some very beautiful cows you can offer dandavats to. And there's a beautiful old tree that's there that must be at least 1,000 years old. Huh?
What is the name of the cows?
Of the what?
The names of the cows.
Vrindavan, Jamuna, and Shamali are the 3 cows that are there. And they expect every day devotees to come and give them some parley cheese or something, some rotis. Many devotees come daily and distribute to these cows. They're very, very beautiful cows.
Radha was the first.
It's just remarkable. I'm astonished actually how these personalities, Vrindavan is the mother, then there's the daughter Jamuna, and then there's a smaller daughter Shama, how they just stand there chained all day, all night on the banks of Syama-kunda. What sort of living entity must be in that body of the cow? And they're just giving milk to the family there that are distributing different milk sweets and so on to the local yatris who come by. But quite remarkable mood. I don't know who those cows are, in fact, but they're immensely sacred. They just don't go anywhere. They can't. They're on a very short chain, 24/7. Anyway, for Westerners, it's hard for us to appreciate that. But still, all of India, they have these cows on very short chains. That's the way they do it. So then now we walk further around. Again, we come out from there. And after taking darshan of these trees, and then we come again. And now we come to Madan Mohan, the 3rd prominent Thakurji. Madan Mohan, of course, he's here on the screen now. Most beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Thakurji. Again, this is the Pratibhu. Madan Mohan is in Karoli, not in Jaipur. Madan Mohan got as far as Karoli before Jaipur. And there he's manifested. And of course, the Acharya is Sanatan Goswami. So right beside Madan Mohan is the sitting place of Sanatan Goswami. He's right there. So we can offer prayers to Sanatan Goswami, connect with him, Sambandha Gyan, his moods. So we've come through Raghunath, we've come through Rupa, and we've come to Sanatan Goswami finally. We've come to Madan Mohan. And we've heard the beautiful pastimes from Sripad Vaikanas Maharaj was telling us the pastimes the other day about Madan Mohan. So we take darshan here. Jayatam Suruto Pango Mama Madakadivya Matsarveshwa Padambojo Radha Madana Mohana. So again, we chant our mantras to Madan Mohan and appreciate their glories completely in the mood of Sambandha Gyan. They're the initiating connection to the 2 preceding deities, the Abhideya and the Prayojan Tattva. So now we come back again onto the Parikrama trail. I'm going faster and faster because we've actually almost run out of time. So now we come to the Sangam itself. And right beside the Sangam, there's the beautiful deities of Gaur Nitai. And Gaur Nitai are beautifully taken care of and dressed. And but sometimes they dress them a little bit strangely. A few days ago, they put breasts on both of them, which was really not appreciated by the Gaudias particularly. But they were there but this is how they generate. They're both in a mood of just giving, munificence. Yes, very tall, indeed. So we can take direct, understand the mood of all these personalities. When we do our parikrama, we connect with all these personalities, all these sadhus, all these saints, all these gurus. How much is our minds going to be purified by this connection? So we offer our pranam to Gaurnitai. What's the beautiful verse you said with the long arms? Sit here. Say it loudly. Say it loudly.
Ajanulambita Bujo Kanakevakato Sankirtana Pitaro Kamalataksho Vishambaro Vijavaro Yugadamapalo Mali Jagat Priyakaro Karunavataro. First verse of Chaitanya Bhagavat.
Saying.
Ajanulambita Bujo Kanakevakato Sankirtana Pitaro Kamalataksho Vishambaro Vijavaro Yugat Armapalo. Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karunavataro.
Translation.
Now, I offer my obeisances to those two great personalities. They have their arms going lower than the knees, which is a symptom of the body of God. And they have lotus eyes. They're the incarnation of mercy, and they're the father of the Sankirtan movement.
Beautiful. Srila Guru Govinda Maharaj would say this verse regularly. Yeah.
Every time before.
Very beautiful. Very beautiful verse.
It would begin. It's the first verse of Chaitanya Bhagavat.
First verse of Chaitanya Bhagavat. Okay, very beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. So now from here, we can either go directly into the Sangam, and take darshan of Radha-kunda and Syama-kunda together. If you're going to take a bath, generally we bathe in Radha-kunda, and then we bathe in Syama-kunda, and then again in Radha-kunda. So that sequence, one Radha-kunda, and then one in Syama-kunda, and then again in Radha-kunda. So today was a very special day to do that. And then we come out of the kund and continue on the parikrama trail, and we come to Nityananda Vaitak, where Nityananda Prabhu is residing. And there we can remember the speciality of Nityananda. We can remember all his Gopals, Abhiram Das Thakur, Sundaranandan Thakur, Gopal Sundaranandan Thakur, Kamalakara Pipalaya, Gauri Das Pandit, Parameshwari, Dhananjaya Pandit, then Mahesh Pandit, then Purushottam Pandit, then Kala Krishna Das, then Purushottam Naga, then Udaran Thakur, then Kolavecha Shrida. These are the Dwadasa Gopal, Das Gopal. 12 Gopals. These are the 12 Gopals. So we can remember them, and we can remember the benevolent mercy of Nityananda Prabhu. So he's residing here. He's sitting here. This is his place. So we're connecting with the entire universe here. And then, because it's described that Radha-kunda is the very center of the universe, it's the most powerful place in the universe. So we can physically, tangibly experience this through this parikrama. There's no doubt. And then we walk a little further along, and we come to Hanumanji. We can never be far away from Hanumanji. He's right there, just on the very corner at the very beginning, standing next to Kundeshwaram, because we come around the corner now, again, onto the parikrama trail, and there's Kundeshwaram, the gatekeeper of the Kund itself. So now we've actually completed our parikrama. Yeah, this is Kundeshwaram. And very wonderful. We can say prayers there. Huh? Oh, yes. And then we have one more place. So this is Kundeshwaram. And then we take darshan of the Kund, offer our pranams to the Kund, and then we can start walking back to the road which leads to Vrindavan. And very short distance on that road, just into the left, there's the sitting place of Narottam Das Thakur. Yes, this is the city. It's a gufa. It's under the ground. It's to avoid the heat. So you can go through a very small little temple courtyard and then go under the ground. Don't bang your head, and come into this huge room. And you can sit right in front of Narottam Das Thakur. And you can chant to him, you can sing to him, you can express your gratitude to him, and you can reflect on his beautiful teachings and pratna, all the asana, you take a left, a right, sorry, as you come out of the Kund, walking towards Vrindavan Road, and you take a right.
Missing the part of the sabji and flower market.
Yes, we've gone past that. Sudadwaiti Maharaj always wants me to take darshan at the subji market. I don't know why, but he does.
Because you don't finish the kunda.
We go around the outside Kund and we finish it completely. We start from Radha-Damodar. He disagrees, but anyway, that's okay. Because you can do it different ways. I connect on the outer ring with the circle, but I'm doing the inner 2 circles. But he's French, so he does a different way. Anyway, so that's our parikrama for today. And I hope we can, in future years, present a better pictorial for you. Because I think with the empathy, the mood of being here with our beloved Gurudev, he would walk around and he would be practically in trance while he was walking around. I can remember once trying to talk to him and he couldn't even hear what I was saying. He was just in another world completely. Very powerful. So Radha-kunda ki jai, Syama-kunda ki jai, Go Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo, Vanshikapaturubhyascha, Vipassanadevacha, Patitanam Bhavnibhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha.
Wow, Marge, that was beautiful. And what Vaikanas Marge was speaking, his pastimes of his storytelling abilities are fabulous. And they're so entertaining and actually makes you feel like you're there. And actually, Marge, thank you for also arranging that we could see those different locations via photo so that we can connect with those places as well. It was very beautifully. Both of you spoke very, very beautifully. I'm very appreciative of your help and your efforts to make this parikrama so heartfelt and also like we're physically there. So thank you, Maharaj. Tomorrow we have let me just get the thing up. Tomorrow we are going to still be Maharaj. I don't know where this falls under, what one it falls under.
Tomorrow we're going to hear from Sripad Bhaktivedanta Padmanabha Maharaj on Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj for the first 40-50 minutes of the class. And then after that, we'll hear about Radha-kunda from Vaikanas Maharaj. And then at the very end, if we can raise Nemi Maharaj, he'll speak on the 4 small places that lead up to Radha-kunda. So we're going to do it in a backwards order because of different time constraints for different devotees. But a principal focus tomorrow will be, because it's the disappearance day of Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. Appearance.
Appearance? So it's disappearance.
Disappearance. All the pundits don't know. So what sort of pundits are they?
I think it's a disappearance day, Maharaj.
But anyway,
It
disappearance.
is. Yeah, I don't think. Anyways, what did Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Maharaj say? Disappearance or appear? Bhaktivedanta Bharati Maharaj said that disappearance or appearance day doesn't make a difference, right? So
Correct.
it's the same.
Correct.
So whatever the
Appearance is more.
appearance. Disappearance.
Because when he appears,
Now the pundit is saying that it's disappearance day tomorrow.
no. I'm saying that appearance, when he appears, you don't know anything about him. When he disappears, you know all his life.
Okay. Okay, Shodhari, you got the schedule down?
Yeah, so yes, thank you, Marge. So devotees, please join tomorrow to listen to the beautiful Harikatha. Srila Bhaktivedanta Padmanabha Maharaj had a very beautiful, close relationship with Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, Sridhar Goswami Maharaj. So we will be really fortunate to hear from him tomorrow. And also we're being Govardhan technically tomorrow, going to these places of Narad Muni and the various different other small locations nearby. So
The
we're very,
Abhibab. Appearance day.
Appearance day. Okay. Appearance day. So we're very, very fortunate. So we're gonna close Kirtan with Nityananda Prabhu. Let me just, oh, there you are. Let me just unmute you. Devotees, please share this programs with people that are not able to come and attend these physically. And if you are able or feel inspired to physically come to Vrindavan, then please do. Haribo. Nityananda Prabhu, are you there?
Yes, we are here ready. So we're doing the Radha-kunda written by Raghunath Das Goswami. So I will ask forgiveness in case make some mistakes. It's a very difficult song to chant, but we'll do our best.
We can't see you.
Oh,
There you go.
no, I don't think he likes. There, okay. Jai Sri Radha-kunda ki Jai. Vrishabhadhano janasham narmadhar mukti rangair nikila nijasha kibisyas swathastena purnam prakatitamapi vrindaranyaranya pramodhais Tadati surabhi Radha-kundam evashrayo me Braja bhuvi mora shatro preyasinam nikamair Asulabhamapi turnam prema kalpa drumam tam Yanayati hridi bhumosnatur uchair priyam jat Tadati surabhi Radha-kundam evashrayo me Agharipur api yatnadatra devya prasada Prasara kritaka taksha prapti kamaha prakamam Anusarati yaduchai snaha sevanu bandais Tadati surabhi Radha-kundam evashrayo me Vraja bhuvana sudhamsho prema bhumir nikamam Vraja madhura kishori moli ratna priyeva Prarichitamapi namnaya chate naiva tasyas Tadati surabhi Radha-kundam evashrayo me Api jana iha kaschid yasya seva prasadai pranaya sudha lattasya tasya goshtendra suno Sapadikilamad ishadasya pushpa prasasya Tadati surabhi Radha-kundam evashrayo me Tata madhura nikunjaha glipta namana uchair Nija parijana vargaihi samvi bhasya shritastai Madhukara rota ramya yasya janti kamyas Tadati surabhi radha-kundam evashrayo me Tata bhuvi vara vedyam yasya narmati hridyam Madhura madhura vartam goshta chandrasya bhangya Pratayati mita isha pranasakya libihisa Tadati surabhi radha-kundam evashrayo me Anodinam ati rangaihi prema matalai sangair Varasarasija gandair harivari prapurne Viharata iha yasmin dampati to pramato Tadati surabhi radha-kundam evashrayo me Avikalamati devyascharu kundashtakam yaha Paripatati tadiyoya siddhasyarpita tamma Achiramiha sharire dashayati eva tasmai Madhure porhati modal shlishyamanam priyam tam Tadati surabhi radha-kundam evashrayo me Jayo giriraja jaya govardhana Govardhana jaya Vrindavana jaya Radha-kunda jaya Syama-kunda jaya Radha-kunda jaya Syama-kunda jaya Gurudeva jaya Gurudeva jaya Gurudeva jaya Gurudeva jaya Prabhupada jaya Prabhupada jaya Prabhupada jaya Prabhupada jaya Radhe jaya Radhe jaya Radhe jaya Shri Radhe Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Jai Shri Shri Radha-kunda Shri Shri Radha-kundashtakam Srila Raghunath Das Goswami Prabhu ki Jai